Hello there, it's Samantha. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello. My name's Samantha. This is my channel where I talk all about books. Today I'm doing a book tag, but today I'm doing the Nevermind book tag, which was created by the lovely Amber from Reading Infinitely, and I was actually tagged by her as well. She's definitely one of my favorite booktubers, and just favorite people in general. Also, her photography is amazing. Anyway, but I just really like this tag as well, so I thought, why not do it? And the thing about this tag is that there's kind of like two questions, so you can either answer both or one or the other, but I'm probably gonna answer both. So the question is, a book you rated high but have now changed your mind about, or a book you've rated low and changed your mind about. So actually, I had something with the Fifth Wave trilogy. So when I read the first book, I really liked it and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then I reread it and I really didn't like it and ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. And then I had the opposite with the second book, The Infinite Sea. The first time I read it, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and the second time, I think I gave it 4 or maybe even 5. Because I just really enjoyed it second time around, and I did not like the first book. So yeah, that's one example, which is very odd because it happened in the same series. The next question is a book you bought because of the cover but might not read. For that one, the first one that comes to mind is a book called If You Find Me by Emily Murdoch. I bought this book years ago. Like, I think I bought it in 2014 or maybe even 2015. I can't quite remember, but it was like very beginning of my channel. I saw the book, I thought that is a really nice cover, and I was interested by the plot. And now I'm just like, I'm not that interested in the plot anymore. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna read it, but I do. It is in storage right now, so maybe when I finally get my books out of storage, I'll get to it, but maybe not. The next question is a book you constantly put on your TBR but can't seem to get to. I've actually been pretty good recently about reading the books that I put on my TBR, like ones like Lady Midnight and Truth Witch, which have been on my TBR forever. I finally got to them, and I'm also finally rereading the Throne of Glass series, which I've been saying I was going to do for years. So at the moment, I'm actually being pretty good about that. There is one book though, which I always used to put on my TBR, but again, it's in storage, so like I don't have access to it. But I literally used to put on every single TBR, and I would never read it. And that was The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, I think. It's been so long since I even talked about that book that I can't even remember the author, and that never happens to me. That sounds about right. Again, this was kind of a cover buy, but also I heard Reagan from Peruse Project talking about this, and I thought it sounded really good, so I was really excited to read it, and then I just never picked it up. The next question is a hyped book you aren't sure you're interested in, and for this one, I would go for CARAVAL by Stephanie Garber, and it's not that I'm not sure. I am completely sure that I'm not interested in this book. I just don't care. It's had such mixed reviews. Like, some people absolutely love it, some people hate it. Along the same lines, like I get the same sort of vibes from the description, is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I just don't have any interest in either of those books. I'm just like, okay, they sound fine, but I'm not that bothered. The next question is a book you DNF'd. So recently, I've only ever DNF'd, I think, 10 books, or 10 that I've put onto Goodreads. Recently, though, I very recently DNF'd The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I DNF'd that at 20% because I just realized that it was just not for me. Another one I DNF'd last year was The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I DNF'd at 47% because I just hated it so much. I don't know why that book is quite hyped, because it sucks in my opinion. Another one, which might be surprising, I DNF'd Renegades at 72% because I was just so bored that I couldn't even finish the last 28%. So that is how much I didn't like that book. I know that that's a super unpopular opinion, but you can hate me if you want to. I've DNF'd quite a few books and quite a few popular books, but it's fine. The next question is a book you were loving until the ending made you think twice, or a book you weren't so sure about until its epic ending. Queen of Air and Darkness, I was very dissatisfied with how that book ended, and I thought that was not a good ending to a series. Probably Queen of Air and Darkness would satisfy the first part of that question. And then the second part of that question, I recently read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, and I thought that the beginning was a bit slow. I did actually enjoy the middle part, but then the ending was particularly good. The next question is a series you were loving and then decided not to continue with, or a series you weren't sure about but now want to continue. A series that I was loving but decided not to continue with is the Vampire Academy series. I've read the first 4 books, and it's been so long since I've read those books that I just haven't pushed myself to read the last 2, but I might at some point, but they're in storage, so it's very easy for me to forget that I even own them. The second part of the series, a series you weren't sure about but now want to continue. I don't know. If I don't like the first book, I'm probably not gonna continue on with it. I don't really have an answer to that part of the question, so we're just gonna leave it. The next question is a genre you used to like but now don't read, or a genre you used to not read but now love. I used to read a lot of dystopian, and now I don't really go near it, apart from Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which is my baby. I love that book so much. So yeah, apart from Scythe, I don't really read any dystopian anymore. And a genre you used to not read but now love. I mean, when I first started my channel, I was definitely more into contemporary and less into fantasy. Like, I still loved both of those genres, and like those two are my favorite genres, but I definitely read more contemporary than fantasy. And now, especially this summer in particular, I've been reading a lot more fantasy than I have contemporary. Last question is a character you changed your mind about, either good or bad. So for this one, I'm going to be a basic bitch and talk about Throne of Glass for a second. The first time I read Throne of Glass, I didn't like Dorian that much, but I loved Kale. I was like a die-hard Kale fan. And now I've reread Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and I'm just like, I do not like Kale. It's not that I don't like him as a character, it's just I don't like him with Selena, which is kind of like a ship. Like, a lot of people ship Dorian and Selena or Kale and Selena, and I definitely prefer Dorian this time around and don't like Kale as much. He's okay as a character, but yeah, he's not my fave. But yeah, so thank you so much to Amber for creating this tag and tagging me in it. This was so much fun to do. I actually really love kind of spilling the tea on the books I don't love. But yeah, that is all that I have for today's video, so I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below, and hopefully I'll still be making content pretty regularly. But I'm gonna go, so I'll see you very soon, hopefully. Bye!